One of the chief threats to our weight loss is discouragement. We can't give in to it. We got to stick together. Average people unite. I want to start this video honestly because I think a lot of people on Mounjaro or other GLP-1s feel this way, think this way, but they don't say it out loud. Sometimes I feel discouraged. I scroll through Facebook groups, Reddit, YouTube. I see people saying things like, I lost 40 pounds in 4 months. I'm down 70 pounds in a year. I'm on 5 milligrams and the weight just fell off. And then I look at my own numbers. I started Mounjaro 6 months ago at 256 pounds. Today I'm 245 pounds. At my lowest, I hit 237. Then I gained weight back all the way back up to 250 pounds. Now I'm working my way down again, and I'm at 245 pounds. That regain really messes with your head. It makes you wonder, is this medication working? Am I doing something wrong? Or the big one, am I a low responder? Am I a low responder to GLP-1s? Am I a low responder to Mounjaro? This video today is me working through that question. What does low responder actually mean? We need to define our terms here. A true low responder to tirzepatide or GLP-1s is someone who loses less than 5% of their total body weight, and that's even after they've had adequate time on the medication, and that's even after reaching the higher levels of therapeutic doses. It's not someone who's still titrating, gradually incrementing their way up. That's not someone dealing with life stress. And it's not someone who had weight loss prior to starting the GLP-1. So the question isn't, am I slower than people on social media? The question is, am I failing to respond biologically to the drug? Those are very different questions. We all know, even though we all fall for it, we all know we have to be very careful when it comes to making comparisons with our reality to what we see on social media. Next, let's look at my numbers in the proper context. Let's look at my actual data. I started Mounjaro June, about 6 months ago, at 256 pounds. My current weight is 245 pounds. My net loss is 11 pounds. That's about 4 to 5% of my body weight, and my dose is 7.5 milligrams. I've reached as low as 237 pounds, which is about a 7.5% loss before I regained over the last month. Now that matters because regain during titration is common, especially when you're not yet at a full dose. You have long-standing insulin resistance, which I do. I'm type 2 diabetic. You're older. I'm 60 years old. You have sleep, stress, or workload constraints. I've got all of those, like a lot of people do. Regain does not erase responsiveness. It shows volatility, not failure. So that volatility means, yes, circumstances affect the effectiveness of the weight gain, including things like stress, lack of sleep, other external environmental issues. But that doesn't mean the drug is failing, but it is affected by those things. It's also affected by titrating up and those transitions and that kind of up and down of the titration or increasing your dose process. Again, not failure. It just shows volatility in that process. Third, the missing piece. I didn't start Mounjaro at 280 pounds. I started Mounjaro at 256 pounds, but my highest weight was 280 pounds in 2020. And that's when I really started this weight loss journey in earnest So I had lost 24 pounds before I started Mounjaro. That really changes everything as far as looking at the numbers, because the first 5 to 10% of weight loss is the easiest physiologically. That's when insulin sensitivity improves the fastest. That's when liver fat drops. That's when appetite signaling shifts the most. I had already spent that leverage before I started on medication. So I kind of lost that easy 5 to 10% before I got on Mounjaro. And that's where I got kind of stuck, and that's why I turned to Mounjaro. I couldn't get past that. So someone who started Mounjaro at 280, they have very high early high leverage loss because you're combining the pharmacological response of Mounjaro with the physiological support of losing that first chunk of weight. So I started Mounjaro mid-game at the halfway point, not at the kickoff. So when I compare myself to trial averages or social media transformation, I'm comparing a mid-course correction to a launch sequence. That comparison is structurally unfair. So I need to kind of reframe the timeline. If I reframe it honestly, from 280 to 245, the picture changes. Total loss is 35 pounds. Percent loss is 12.5%. And with that weight loss, I've already improved my blood sugar control, lowered my blood pressure, reduced cardiovascular risk, improved my sleep apnea, reduced my joint load. I've also reduced my fatty liver, so my liver enzymes are in the normal range. Important because my father died of cirrhosis caused by fatty liver. So this is not almost working. This is working. Even if it's not as dramatic as other people's successes, this is really a health-changing, non-trivial, health-changing weight loss amount. The medication didn't fail. It entered after I'd already done some of the hardest work. So this is why, after looking at the data, at the beginning of this video, I was going to make a video called I'm a Low Responder, and I'm going to keep plugging along anyway. But now, after looking at the science, after looking at the research, after looking at the data, I don't think I'm a low responder, and here's why. I've demonstrated appetite suppression, no question about that, weight loss at lower doses, ability to reach clinically meaningful loss. I'm not stuck at zero. I'm not gaining relentlessly. I'm not unresponsive. I'm on a mid-range dose, 7.5 milligrams, with prior weight loss. I'm managing real-world constraints like so many of us do. And I'm still trending downwards over time, even though I had some regain around the holidays. That profile matches millions of real users, not outliers. I'm not some weird failure who's defying the efficacy of Mounjaro. I'm right there with millions of other GLP-1 users. So instead of asking, am I a low responder, I'm asking a better question. What does a realistic, sustainable response look like for someone like me? Someone over 60, with diabetes history, with prior weight loss, with a very full life. And if you felt discouraged watching other people's numbers, this might apply to you as well. If this video helped reframe things, let me know in the comments. I've got a feeling that most of us are like me. We're making slow, steady progress. It goes up and down with environment and circumstances and changes in medication, etc. But we're trending in the right direction over time. And one of the chief threats to our weight loss is discouragement. We can't give in to it. We got to stick together. You and me, average people, let's stick together. Average people unite. All right, if this was helpful, like, subscribe, click all the buttons, leave me a comment. I really do want to share your journey. I've got a school community. $25, one-time fee, you're in, and you're going to meet some the greatest people you can meet that will really encourage you on your journey. You can share the journey, the ups and downs, and some people having tremendous success who you can really learn from, and some average people like me who we're going to plug in and chug along together. All right?